Hello and welcome back. A quick update today, not the one that I wanted to be making, but wanted to share a clear and open and honest part of the marathon journey. Obviously, if you've been watching the videos, you've probably been following along as I've been talking about my journey towards Berlin Marathon, a little bit about my training, how it's going, and just a bit of reflection as we head into the final 4 weeks before Berlin Marathon. So obviously 4 weeks to go. The timing's not ideal, but unfortunately I sustained an injury to my hamstring, and just wanted to say what I'm doing and how I'm managing the training, just because I know that a lot of people do face these kind of things. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what you can do and what I'm going to be doing as practical examples. Obviously there's nothing we can do in terms of controlling these type of things and when they happen, but we just got to control the controllables and do what we can do. So what basically happened to me is I had a little bit of a strain on my leg as I finished up my holiday when I was in Spain. Volume was in a great place, not so much volume, nothing crazy, nothing that I've not handled before, but basically just a little bit of an increase in intensity seems to have triggered a little bit of a hamstring injury, and that's something that I've never had before, so it's not like it's a repetitive injury that's come back. It's something brand new, so I'm sort of dealing with it and seeing best how to adapt my plan for Berlin Marathon. So I'm just going to try and be a bit smarter and adjust my training approach. Most of the time, I've talked about this in podcasts and videos before, is we try our absolute best to manage injuries and try and keep them at bay with things like volume increases, intensity increases, correct nutrition, correct strength training. But this is just something that happens, unfortunately. If you're trying to push yourself to do something you've never done, unfortunately, you're teetering a fine line between adaptation and obviously overreaching and potential injury. So this is something that I want to talk about, so what I'm going to do is obviously in the next 4 weeks prioritize recovery. Ultimately I want to get that Berlin medal. I ideally wanted to get it in a personal best time. It's too early to say whether that's out the window yet, but ultimately I want to get that star, get that major marathon ticked off. So basically what I'm going to do is make sure I get there. So I'm going to focus on these things. Number one, I'm going to focus on strength training. I want to make sure that I can build up around the area. Probably in the next 3 to 4 days, probably going to be a bit too soon to work directly on the area. As it is in the groin area, it's really sensitive, and it's, any sort of little thing can trigger it. But areas around the hips, hamstrings, core stability, single leg work, these things I'm going to make sure that I work on, make sure that I'm trying to bulletproof all the different areas around that sort of leg. Obviously core super important and something that I'm going to do. Number two, I'd probably say this is most important, and that's sleep and recovery. So number two being, it's obviously one of the most boring things, sleep. You think, how could that affect me, but I'm going to make sure that I'm absolutely prioritizing 7 to 8 hours sleep every night as an absolute minimum. For other training that I do, I'm going to try and get an extra hour of sleep in if possible. I know that's not possible for everyone, as everyone's got very hectic schedules, but the way I'm looking at it now, instead of hours wasted spent watching Netflix, watching TV, I'm just going to try and get to bed, try and get to rest, and treat it as if it's programmed in, as the same way you would treat it as if it was a serious marathon session in the diary. I'm going to make sure my nutrition, hydration's on point, making sure that I'm increasing my protein, make sure that I've got lots of carbs. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm going to do for training, but obviously I still need to make sure that I'm fueling in for anything else that I'm doing, making sure hydration's on point, making sure I'm fueling up with basic electrolytes and lots of water, especially in the Dubai summer heat here. It's very easy to get dehydrated. So main thing for training, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be leaning on cross training. Now, I really use training as one of the biggest things for not only my physical health, but for my mental health. I really feel like I have to get out and train every day and do something. It's not, about becoming world champion. It's just about getting out there, feeling good, and sort of putting your energy in the right places. Now, for me, I take massive satisfaction, as you've probably seen from videos, or if you know me, massive satisfaction from biking. And I do have some triathlon goals towards the end of the year after Berlin. So it's probably a great time to start getting my swimming base in. Got myself some new goggles, so I've got absolutely no excuses to get out there and start doing some swimming. Obviously great for the aerobic base. It's good to keep the body functioning. And then obviously it means that I'm still getting some good enjoyment. It doesn't seem to be any impact, is not any issue on my groin, so it's really good to get out there. Obviously nothing strenuous on the bike, no sprinting, nothing like that. Basically just want to keep the engine firing so that if I do get some good runs in before Berlin, then obviously it means that aerobically I'll have a really good base. I'm going to make sure that I'm super on top of things in terms of mobility, prehab. Every time I go out to do anything, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing all my activations with my bands, make sure I'm doing dynamic movements, keeping everything firing without overloading and without doing too much on any of the injured areas that I've got. So it's about keeping my whole system ticking over without causing any further issues. So a little bit about what the mindset and the lessons are for this. I deal with this on a daily basis for people that I coach, but this is going to happen on your marathon plans, or this is going to happen on your half marathon plans. You're going to have setbacks. Now, it might not be major injuries like this. It might be something as small as getting knocked off a work schedule, getting put back a couple of days. It could be absolutely anything. You're always going to encounter setbacks in absolutely everything you do. And if you're someone who's a bit more professional, you'll absolutely relate to this. It could be absolutely anything that knocks you off slightly. You could be struggling to fall asleep. You could be really struggling with your nutrition, with your mental health. You could be struggling with, relationships and family life. So this is something that you deal with, and it's all really part of the game. And to be honest, you've got to take the rough with the smooth. You've got to take this as part and parcel of the game. This is exactly why we do it, and you've really got to roll with the punches. So you've got to basically first of all accept that it happened. I had last night really, I was really down in the dumps thinking about all the different work that I'd done, managed to get to this point, hitting some of my best numbers that I have in the build. But at a certain point you've got to sort of accept. Overnight, had a good night's sleep, woke up in the morning, decided during our training session with the guys at Jameer Johns, I decided I was going to take my bike because there was absolutely no way that I could run. And I sort of almost hit that accept button when I went and took the bike out. Obviously everyone was super supportive, and was able to get out there and do some light exercise and able to go there before I go out for my swim this afternoon. But once you've hit that accept and you've understood where you're at, there's nothing you could do. Like last night I tried to go for my recovery run for 40 minutes. Now this is supposed to be at 10-minute miles, 6 minutes a K, and I literally could not finish it. It was so much agony that when I left Matthew on the way back on the run home, I genuinely could feel myself like suffering. I could feel myself like the pain was almost so much it made me want to feel like I wanted to go into tears. But I was absolutely fine. There's nothing you could do. I physically couldn't complete the session. So I know what I can do. I can go and hit the bike. So we're going to do that tomorrow morning. But basically that's just a small update on the injury. Obviously I'd love to hear what's worked for you. If you've ever suffered anything in the groin like this, I'd love to hear your tips. And if you're training for a big race, you understand that this is part of the process. It doesn't have to sort of completely derail you. It's something that happens. It's basically how you respond. Obviously I've let it soak in and we're about to move on. So thank you very much for watching. Obviously, if you've got this far into the video, I appreciate if you could leave a comment, about what you've done to get over your injuries. So thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one.